Hello comic book YouTube, it's just laying back with another video, first of a couple of haul videos that I'm planning to do on the channel. Thanks to everyone that's watched the previous ones and subscribed and left comments, really do appreciate it. But this video is very much going to be a quantity over quality video, so hopefully you stick around and see what I've been picking up here recently. Saturday gone, it was my birthday, so I decided to go to a comic convention that was on because my wife unfortunately had to work. So I went to the Comic and Sci-Fi Fair in Newcastle that are run by Golden Orbit, and they do conventions kind of all over the place: Birmingham, Leeds, Sheffield, Manchester, Liverpool and Newcastle. I think this is the 5th one they've done since they restarted them in Newcastle, and the 3rd one that was able to attend. I'll pop a comment with a link in it under the video here to the Facebook page, so if you are in the UK and those types of areas, it'll have the dates and stuff like that on. It's not a sponsored ad, unfortunately. I'll still look at it and I'll still have to pay me entry in, but never mind. It's all good, it's all for the hobby, isn't it? So the more people know about it, the more vendors and the more benefits everyone. So without kind of any further ado, let's jump into some of the books. Now, first few books I'm going to go through are some Animal Man ones. So a lot of the stuff I picked up was for under £1. I think the most expensive book I bought rather was about 20 quid. One for a tenner, hardcover for 12, which I'll get to, but it was very much kind of focusing on some run fillers and trying to get close to, or if not close out, some runs I've been collecting recently. And the first chunk of those, as I say, Animal Man, I've been collecting the paperbacks. If you've watched the last video, you'll see I got the remaining ones I needed. But I thought for the price, I'll get some of the issues and try and finish that off. So I think I'm only missing a handful now. So these are the Animal Man issues I got. So I'll just go through a few of them just to thingy, so I'm just in the process of bagging and boarding them. It says number 30, 31, 32, gorgeous cover for number 34, 37, 40, 41, and then it kind of goes all the way on up to, I think, issue 87 is the last one in the stack. So nice to find these, like I say, especially for the price. So I'll probably look to try and close out the last couple of issues on eBay or something like that in the next couple of months or so. And then the next stack, it's just a little bit mixed. I've sorted them to catalogue, but it's a little bit all over. So there was a couple of Avengers issues I needed. So there was a Roger Stern issue, number 237, Spider-Man. Normally find on eBay and stuff, that's normally a little bit more expensive because it's one of the 2 issues with Spider-Man on it. But happy to find that. And also number 492, or issue 77 from volume 2, I think it is, which is the issue after Jeff Johns' run finished. I think I've got most of the Jeff Johns issues, so I just thought for the price it was a gap I had, so why not grab it. Next few issues, again found for cheap and decided for the price I'd grab them. It is a decent chunk of the Steve Englehart West Coast Avengers. I think I've got all the John Byrne issues and a handful of them after that. But I thought, why not grab these? Really enjoy Steve Englehart's writing, so I thought I'd grab them. So there's issue number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 17, number 18, number 19, I think that is, number 20, and then a few. The other ones are really nice. Wonder Man and Abomination cover there. I've not managed to watch Wonder Man yet, so if you have and it's any good, drop a comment there, let us know, see if it's worth watching. And then again, just some, they're not in the best condition, but we'll do for now, a few of the Paul Cornell and Leonard Kirk Captain Britain and MI13 issues. I've got the first 3, grabbed another handful of them just to try and close it out. Again, not cheap enough. There's a run I really enjoy, read it in trade, read it on Marvel Unlimited as well, I think, so we'll add those to the collection, no problem. And I think I was missing a handful of the Greg Rucka Detective Comics issues where they had Batwoman in them. I've got the majority of the first few. I think I've got the first one of those issues signed by Greg Rucka when I met him actually. But just again, a couple more for the price, couldn't say no to. So I've got issue number 859 and 863. Jock and T-Rate art on there, which is always a bonus. And then kind of going in a similar kind of vein to Animal Man, I had a lot of the, well, I didn't have a lot of the, rather, post-Morrison Animal Man, but I didn't have any really of the pre-Morrison Doom Patrol. So a few of these were very cheap, so thought I'd grab them. I think I paid £5 for issue number 1. And then I've got issue number 2, 3, 4, which I ended up grabbing 2 or 3 times I think, so I was just piling stuff up and didn't have a chance to double check them. 5, the nice Tombstone cover. 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13, 14, 15, number 16, and the Doom Patrol and Suicide Squad special, which I think I paid £5 for as well. There was a seller who had some books where they were like £4.50 or something like that, or had some kind of weird thing, so it was like £29. And he had a couple of books in the 50p box, and then they just kind of rounded out to a whole number. I grabbed a couple of issues of the John Ostrander Firestorm. Do really enjoy John Ostrander's work, but Firestorm's not something I've ever really touched on. So happy to add these. I'll give them a little check out and see if the run itself is something that I do want to collect a bit more going forward. And again, for the price, just a couple of random Jeff Johns Flash issues. I've got them in omnibus, but I've not read them yet. But I've read from Flash Rebirth on, but I haven't read like the older stuff from Volume 2. So just a couple of issues of those. So that's number 166 and 192. So Blackest Night is probably my favourite DC event. The build up to from Jeff Johns' Green Lantern and stuff like that. It's one of my favourite runs of all time. So I collect the Blackest Night tie-ins here and there. If it's not something in a run I collect, I'll just kind of keep them together with the Blackest Night run, kind of the Outsiders and stuff like that, those different tie-ins, or just direct tie-ins where they had little mini-series off the back of it. And again, I'm not sure if I had this because it wasn't on my list, so I don't think I have got it, but I might have it as a double now, and it is Green Arrow number 30. And I've got all of the Garth Ennis Hitman issues, but one I didn't have was the Pulp Heroes annual, so I thought why not grab that for less than £1. And then another run I'm kind of slowly piecing together is the Louise Simonson New Mutants. So again, for the price, I'm not interested in the later stuff with Deadpool and Cable and stuff like that, but I'll quite happily grab these Simonson issues. So before then there was a random Claremont one I was missing, which is number 53. And then we start on these with number 55, 57, 61, 63, which I bought a couple of because I really like the cover, 67, 68, 70, 72, 73, 76, 78, 84, and 85. So we all have issues that no matter how many copies we've got, we'll always buy them. For me, I'll always buy the 2 Joe Kelly Spider-Man Gauntlet issues, 617 and 625. I'll always grab a copy of the Justice League Annual 4, Justice League of Antarctica, those rabid penguins. Another one I'll always grab is Punisher War Journal #4, which is a one and done story kind of thing. It's a wake that they're having for Stiltman that the Punisher had not long killed. Spider-Man's in it, there's loads of villain interactions, and one of the kind of guilty pleasures I have in team books and stuff like that is kind of supervillain team-ups, whether it's like Thunderbolts or Suicide Squad, Secret Six, that type of thing. So I quite like the interactions that they have. And in there it's just full of them having a drink and getting rowdy and just basically trying to, my dad's bigger than your type of cracker, which I really appreciated. And then there's a little bit of a twist in the story at the end. So like I say, as a one and done, I'll grab it all day, every day, no matter when I see it, especially if, well, when it's cheap, of course. Just to have a read through and see if digging it out, and then I'll pass it on to a friend or something like that, just to then have a look through or to do what they want with it. But yeah, always grab those. And if there's any books similar to that you guys do the same for, let us know in the comments. See if maybe something I'm not familiar with to check out. So controversially at the moment, so we'll kind of skip past them because he's persona non grata in some people's minds in the community. Few issues of Neil Gaiman's Sandman that I was missing. Again, cheap enough, got the trades, but for the price, why not? And then an interesting spot is this issue of Sandman Mystery Theatre, issue 46. So I don't know if it's on the actual issue or if it's actually signed, but I noticed that there were some signatures on the bottom of it, so I'm assuming that that's Matt Smith's signature, and I'm wondering if that's Seagal's signature on there. If it's maybe somebody who's a little bit more well versed in these signatures, doesn't really look like Matt Wagner's. If you think that is Seagal's signature, let us know. But for less than £1, like I say, it filled a little gap and it was an interesting little spot, so I got that. And going alongside it, issue number 47, and again just some cheap run little gaps. So Shade the Changing Man, got it in the first volume in omnibus. I've pre-ordered the second one to read through them properly, but if I find the single issues for cheap enough, I'll grab them. I think these were 50p each, so why not? So I've got Shade number 5, number 6, number 42, my boy Johnny Constantine, and number 43. So the main thing, other than really the Animal Man books I was looking for, were more Teen Titans issues. So a couple of these cost a few quid, a few of them were in the less than £1 box. I just grabbed what I could, grabbed some gaps. So I got issue number 5, issue number 6, issue number 16, shout out to Captain Carrot, number 33, number 35, number 36, number 37, and I've got Tales after a changed title, number 47, number 48, and with a nice 35p sticker on it, number 49. But just a random one for the Vertigo stuff. I've got a Vertigo previews, the Enigma, Sandman Mystery Theatre, that kind of stuff in it. And then kind of going along with supervillain teams and stuff like that. Villains United, so following on from Salvation Run, where a few of the supervillains like Bane and Deadshot and Catman and all that got together as a result of that. It's a little bit of a Lord of the Flies type of story if you've not read it. That then spun into Villains United, I think, which then spun into a 6-issue Secret Six story, 6 Degrees of Destruction or Devastation or something like that, before the first volume of the, well, technically second volume, but the first volume of the ongoing written by Gail Simone. So it's not some issues that I had. In fact, I've got this issue, but it's signed by, I think, J.G. Jones, who did the cover, which I'll have to dig out somehow, but it's a second print, but it's like a sketch variant type cover, which I really like, of number 1. And then just the regular cover is of issue number 3, number 5, and number 6. Might have to add all those Secret Six issues to my reread list, to be fair. It's been a little while. And then just quick fire few little gap fillers that I spotted that I didn't have. Issue 2 of Tom King's Vision. Issue 23 of George Perez's Wonder Woman. And issue 53 of X Factor. So I think it was about 5 different sellers I went to on the day. A few different books from each of them. First one I got the majority of the cheaper issues in that stack from. I think I got about 120 comics for about 85 quid because it gives a little bit of a discount. So that was really good of them. Thank you for that. So moving on to some of the slightly better stuff. So one of the sellers who I didn't recognise from the previous visits had a lot of kind of pre-packed runs, like 1 to 90 of whatever, first 10 issues of Preacher bundled together, that type of thing. But they did have a little handful of singles, which, to be fair, I felt were very, very cheap for what they were. A lot of the stuff I already had, but they did have a little few issues of late 70s Avengers, which I had looked through. Again, these need kind of rebagged and boarded, but I left the price stickers on them, just keep them in the thing. So the first one was issue 160 for a couple of quid. Issue 161, £2. Can't go wrong with that, late 70s Avengers. And then I was really surprised to see for £6 they had issue 162, which looks to be fairly decent condition, not too many spine ticks, corners are okay, which for things the first appearance of Jocasta. We have issue 163, again £2, not going to turn my nose up at that. Issue 175, which is the first cover appearance of Cosmic Michael Korvac, I think, from the Korvac saga. And then a couple of monster covers they did around the time. So there's number 179 and 180. So I was really happy to find those. Wasn't expecting to get anything like that for that kind of price. So that was a nice little surprise. And then the seller at the back tend to have like a lot of really good war books and a big selection of Silver Age and stuff like that. He had some of those books in there as well, which were like £10-15 each, so really happy with those. But from that seller, did get a couple of little bits. So I did get the issue 189, which filled a little gap I had of Captain America, and this was £10. In terms of kind of, these are the bags and boards that I use. I quite like these ones because the book's not too tight in it, but it feels really secure. I know a lot of people say to the Silver Age bag and board everything, but I really like these. So I use, for anyone that's wondering, I'll use the current size Ultra Pro and just order those online. And I get the current size Comic Care ones from either my logo shop or from Forbidden Planet, and just order them in. I've got 3 more of these on order, so I've got another 3 of these sat upstairs. So if you're looking to maybe change out what you're putting your current stuff in, or this types of stuff, this is what I would recommend. This is what I've been using for years with no problems. And the other thing I got from that seller, which was the most expensive thing I bought on the day, which As you'll know, I'm a Daredevil collector, collecting the main series, but I've not really dipped into the annuals, and that was until I saw this copy of annual number 1. Spine's not the best on it. It's a little bit frayed away, a little bit coming up to detached, but probably could have got a little bit cheaper on eBay, but on the day, it was a little birthday treat to myself. Nice story to read on the train back, why not? And the only kind of collected edition I bought is something I've not, well, I've maybe have seen it before, but it's not something I've really noticed, just kind of rummaging through the collected editions one of the sellers had under the table, and it is Creatures of the Night by Neil Gaiman and Mike Zuley. I've seen little bits of Mike Zuley's art. I think he did Puma Blues. I might be mistaken on that. I remember reading that a while ago. And obviously Neil Gaiman, you know what you expect with that, the kind of fantasy storytelling and stuff like that. So never, like I said, not something I'm familiar with. So if it's something you've read, maybe just drop us a comment and see if it's worth reading. But as a nice little collection filler and something I'll get to eventually, I thought for 12 quid, again, maybe could have got it cheaper because I don't know anything about it, but was happy to pick that up on the day. So that was it. That's what I got from the Golden Orbit comic convention in Newcastle last Saturday. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a like, comment, thumbs up, all that good stuff. And like I say, this will be the first of a second part one, which I'll do probably later in the week, where I've got a little bit to talk about and a bit more, like I say, quality over the quantity that you've seen today. So thanks so much for sticking it out, just over 20 minutes there. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever you're doing, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.